everybody? Welcome back to the Zap Yankee Podcast. You're listening to the voices of Nick Giamonti and
Rich Pagnotta. What's up, everybody?
What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 13 of this Yankee Podcast on YouTube and Spotify every Wednesday at 10:30 a.m.
All right, so it feels like it's been a lot longer than a week, mostly because
It's a very long week.
Yeah, but without baseball, the days seem longer, and without the Yankees playing the Mets this past weekend, it just dragged.
Yes, the Yankee Mets Subway Series Classic at Yankee Stadium was postponed due to one person, and I believe I think it was a coach and a player got the coronavirus on the Mets. So at least they caught it right then and there. They're not taking any more.
It sounds like the Mets are going to be playing again today or tomorrow.
Aren't the Yankees playing the Mets this weekend now?
Yeah, it's a doubleheader.
Yes, they moved it to this weekend for doubleheader, and I guess this series this weekend got yeeted into the future.
Unfortunately, the Yankees will not be hosting the Mets at Yankee Stadium, but they'll probably do what they did with Philly when they played in Philly and were the home team. So
yeah,
because I doubt.
But wore away jerseys, I don't know. It's so stupid.
Yeah, I doubt they're gonna make players literally go across town. But whatever. Here we are, and we are a week away from the trade deadline. Actually, less than a week, 6 days.
Trade deadline is August 31st.
So it's 5 days in 23 and a half hours.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, if you're doing actual hours, yeah.
So we got a lot to talk about today. We're briefly gonna, touch on last week's embarrassment against the Rays, and we're mostly gonna talk about, trades coming this possible week that we would like to see, we would hope to see, who we want to see dealt, who we don't want to see dealt, all that. So let's just start with the obvious. Let's start with the good news. I know you guys are hearing this on Wednesday, but it's Tuesday, and the one, the only Aaron Judge is back off the DL.
Aaron Judge. I would turn around and show the back of my jersey, but I can't because we don't have that much room between this and the back wall.
Make sure you bring your gavels out tonight, everybody.
Yep. New York, baby. Aaron Judge. They need to get a nickname for... I know he's the Judge, but...
What nickname?
I don't know. Judge? Babe Ruth had 18 different nicknames.
Well, yeah, but Judge is going to just be Judge.
I don't know. He needs to be the Hammer.
The Hammer. He'd be the Gavel.
The Gavel. He needs to be the Gavel. You heard it here, folks. The Gavel.
Oh, my God. I don't want to be associated with that.
No, Aaron Judge doesn't need a nickname. Yes, he does.
So, last week we played Tampa, and it was just bad. It was not good. We put out our 3 best pitchers, and we got nothing to show from it except losing first place in the AL East. And it sucks.
This is the first series this year. I think pretty much each game, about halfway through, I just turned the game off.
Well, that's not good.
No, because I was just so disappointed because nobody was hitting. They were making errors. The pitching just shit the bed somehow. And
well, I mean,
not all of our pitching, but I mean, Garrett Cole still played great, but we still lost that game. He didn't get the decision as the losing pitcher. I believe that. Does it say who lost? Britton. Yeah, Britton. Yeah, he had a rough 2 weeks, and he's actually hurt on the IL right now. And if you haven't seen my post about who's currently on the IL list, go check us out on Instagram. You'll see. Obviously, take Aaron Judge off that because Aaron Judge is coming back today.
But it's still half the team.
But still, majority of the team is on that disabled list.
Yeah, it sucks. But, I know you're saying that it was a bad week for the Yankees pitchers, but look at them.
Not a week. The series itself was just rough.
Yeah, but look at Cole. Cole was great, but aside from the 2 home runs he gave up, he gave up 4 more hits, 1 walk, struck out 10, went 6 2/3, and when they pulled him, it was a tie game.
That game, the Yankees should have won that game, and as soon as it was in the later innings, I believe, where 8th inning, the Yankees. It was a 2-2 game. Thank you for dropping my mouse. It was a 2-2 game into the 8th, and then 2 runs were let up. And as soon as those 2 runs let up, I just knew that the game was over. You could just tell by the way a team is batting throughout the game. If the entire game they've only had a couple runs and their hits are down, as soon as the other team goes up 1 or 2 runs, you can tell that's the game.
Well, yeah.
Because if they didn't have the spark the entire game, you can't just randomly assume the spark is going to happen in the 9th inning with the bottom half of the order.
I mean, I don't necessarily agree. I think there's a lot of teams that do thrive on late inning magic and comebacks and all that. And I think the Yankees can be one of them.
It depends on when the order starts off, though.
I mean, that's a part of it, but the Yankees still have a deep lineup, and that's with their four best hitters out of it. But I mean, listen, I wasn't a fan of starting. This is the game Tanaka pitch where you got Voit leading off. I didn't agree with that. I would put somebody like Gio or Talkman or Frazier. You put Frazier there, but it was a weird lineup. I didn't like it at all. I mean, we were just missing all of our big hitters, and Torres was the only one we got, and he went 0 for 4. And just when he was starting to get heat up, he gets hurt. But really, the only bad game we had by Yankees pitchers, I want to say, was the Tanaka game.
Tanaka had a rough
gave
game.
Up 6 runs, only 5 earned. Gave up 2 home runs. He could find the strike zone, but I mean, he wasn't striking anybody out. It was just getting bombarded left and right. I mean, and then you look at Paxton, he was solid. I mean, he was doing better than he was when he started the season. He went 5 innings, gave up 3 runs, and struck out 8. Listen, he's getting his command back, and his velocity's down, and he's doing what CeCe did the last few years of his career. He's not pitching with speed. He's not trying to blow you away. He's pitching.
But he's also on the IL list now.
Well, yeah, now he's hurt, but he's getting
a forearm strain.
Yeah, he's finally getting everything pieced back together, and now he's hurt. And a game, Ottavino just lost all control, and Avalon wasn't any better. And then Sessa came in, and he was not any better either. I mean, those 3 gave up 7 runs. The only bright spot was Jonathan Holder, gave up nothing, and it's unfortunate. It's a game we started to hit better. We had 10 hits, got 5 runs. We finally were able to hit Tampa pitching, and we walked away. We had nothing to show from it. And like I already alluded to, Cole was lights out aside from 2 errors, and game that Britton lost. And
the only thing was Cole didn't receive the losing decision that game, which is nice because he's still technically undefeated for the 2020 season.
Yeah, but I don't look too much into that. But the Yankees were winning when they pulled out Paxton. They were winning 4-3, and then the 6th inning came, and they gave up 6 runs.
It's the bullpen though
it's the bullpen
that seemed to have let us down.
5 runs. Yeah, the bullpen. I know you've been for weeks saying, "Oh, our bullpen's so good, so this and that." And last week they let us down. Not the pitching.
They did let us down.
Not the bats.
Well, Britton's hurt now. He's on the list.
What about Ottavino, your boy?
Yeah, what happened to him? His ERA is now to 4.
Tell me.
I don't know. He was doing great.
Listen, I love Ottavino, but that's your boy.
That is my boy. Sessa isn't the Sessa I think that they were expecting. He's having a little bit of a rough season so far. He's got a 5.19 ERA.
Yeah.
And he's only got 9 strikeouts. Wait, hold up. Okay. Sidetrack. Look, after this series, this put the Yankees in 2nd place against Tampa Bay. And is this before?
So
is this before or is this after?
This is now.
Okay.
So Yankees are technically in first place.
How did Tampa somehow go into first place and then get out of first place?
It's because they played more games. They've played 30 games. We've played 25.
Yeah, but you guys were in first place. The Yankees missed the whole weekend, and now you're.
It goes by winning percentage.
I know, but it's just funny looking.
Well, yeah, it's funny, but it's winning percentage. I mean, look at what the NL Central was when the Cardinals played 5 games. I think they had a 600 winning percentage.
Oh no,
3-2.
No, the Marlins only played 8 games.
Oh yeah, that was another one too.
And everyone else is already up to.
This is a season where we can't really, in the middle of everything, say, oh, let's look at the win-loss record and say, oh, why are the Yankees first with 3 less games when they were half a game out?
Well, we're pretty much halfway through the season. So when we get to 50 games, then you're going to start to see more.
Well, yeah, but there's still even then the record's not going to matter until the very, very end this year.
The last week.
There's still so many games that are going to be made up the last week of baseball with doubleheaders galore. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a mess. So I don't care too much about the record right now. Yes, Tampa has more wins and a lower winning percentage, and we're technically a half game ahead of them. That's once we pick up 5 games, if we still go at the rate we're going, they'll be in first.
But we are starting to see more of a settled division. I mean, you're gonna have the Yankees and Tampa at the top. Toronto always fluctuates. Yeah, I think so.
Baltimore's 500.
No, but I'm saying this is going to be more of the settled, where it's going to be settled for like the season. If you're looking at
first through fifth.
Yeah, Boston is definitely going to ride last place the entire season.
Love to see it.
Yeah, Baltimore doing a little better this year. They're in fourth. Toronto always kind of gets like that middle ground.
Listen, no matter what Baltimore did this year, it was going to be an improvement over last year.
Oh yeah, and I'm proud of them. Tampa and Yankees are always.
They're going to be 1-2 for the next couple of years.
The past couple of years they've been fighting for that front spot. That we're at second place at least. But it's nice to see the division starting to,
take shape.
Yeah, take shape.
Yeah.
And I love that Boston is 9-20 because that is just straight dog shit. And I don't know if that is worse than the Pirates, and if it is, I don't. You know what's great too is the Astros aren't doing that good either, and I love that too.
The Astros are doing better than you think. They're second.
Yeah, they're in second place, but they're not riding first, and they're 4 games behind.
Yeah, because Oakland's killing it.
Yeah, and I love to see that because
they still have a plus
Houston.
20. They still have a plus 22 run differential. They have a 96.5 chance to make the playoffs. Relax. We'll deal with them in the playoffs.
I never said that they weren't going to make the playoffs.
No, I know you didn't say that.
But I also did say at the beginning of this podcast season that that Oakland was going to take the division.
You did.
I did. And I'm putting all the money that they will.
I hope you're right.
Also, the Dodgers are killing it so far too.
The Dodgers are the best team.
But
in baseball.
I mean, did we expect anything less from the Dodgers? No.
A little.
What about the Slam Diego Padres? Come on, guys.
Yeah,
I love where this team is doing.
Yeah, I'm on board. I am jumping on the train. I am happy. It started with Tatis, and the Rangers manager pissed them off, and now the team is playing with fun, exuberance, and it is amazing.
Look, they have their playoff percentage is 78, and they're only 4 games behind the Dodgers right now. So,
and they are have the 3rd best record in the whole National League. They will make the playoffs. If it's the top 16 teams, they will be making the playoffs if they can stay on this pace that they're on.
Still don't understand how Miami's in second place.
They have the 2nd best run differential in the National League. They're also on a 7-game win streak, which is dope.
Yeah, they're doing really good.
They're a very good home team. Actually, and they are crap on the road.
That whole division right now is on a nice win streak. I mean, you have the Dodgers at 4, Padres at 7, whatever. Rockies won 1 game, but the Giants are in 4th place and they got a 6-game winning streak right now. But they have a 6. Wait a minute. Look at. Do you see Pittsburgh's playoff percentage? Yeah. Their playoff percentage is 0.2%.
Yeah, and somehow Arizona, who is 13-17, bottom in the NL West, has a 55% playoff percent chance. If I can make sense of words.
Yeah, well, that's like Seattle.
San Francisco has 7.
That's like Seattle against the Angels. The Angels are in last place, but they have a 15%.
Yeah, so none of this makes any sense.
But
it's weird. It doesn't make any sense.
0.2%. That's so funny.
The thing that should be concerning to Yankee fans everywhere is the Giants, who went 6-0 over the last week, and they went from 8-16 to 14-16, and now they look like a team that would be selling off major pieces, and now they're a team that it might hold pat at the trading deadline, because the entire National League is trash. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams above 500. Everybody else is still in it.
Well, that's another 9
to the
American
teams.
League, though. I mean, you have
1, 2, 3.
You have a decent amount of teams
4, 5,
over 500.
6, 7, 8 teams.
Yeah.
And if you're taking 8 to go to the playoffs, the 8 are filled. There's still 2 more spots for the National League to fill, and now the teams are 12 wins, 11 wins, 10 wins, 12 wins, 11 wins, 10 wins, 14, 13. The National League West might send the whole freaking division to the playoffs at this rate, honestly, which would be the funniest thing in the history of the world, and I kind of really hope it happens now. But, like I'm saying, Yankee fans, we should, not be happy about this, because now we could have been in the market for Johnny Cueto and a reliever. We could have been, knocking down Arizona's door to try to get Robbie Ray. We could have been doing all this and that.
We've been always trying to get Robbie Ray the past couple of years.
Yeah, but now it's like, oh, you know what? They have a really good shot to make the playoffs. Maybe they don't do the trades. So we're going to start to dive into trades.
Yes, so that is big subject in today's episode is what's going to happen at this trade deadline next week, end of August, number 31.
So, This is a New York Post article. I'm just gonna rattle off the names that they have.
This is the big one that a lot of people are. If you're following not Lance Lynn.
I know.
If you're following baseball right now, especially with the trade deadline, or if you're a big Yankee fan, a lot of you have heard right now that the Yankees are eyeing Mike Clevinger from the Cleveland Indians. And a lot of people are saying that is Francisco Lindor they're looking at, and Zach Plesac.
Well, before we get into them, like those two are not happening. Let's just make that clear right now. Which one? Plesac and Lindor.
Yeah, those aren't happening.
So the New York Post, they listed off an article with who they think the Yankees are going to go after, and some rumors that they have heard. They include Lance Lynn, Mike Clevinger, Johnny Cueto, John Gray from the Rockies, Michael Fulmer, Steven Matz, Robbie Ray, Tajuan Walker from Seattle, Dylan Bundy and Ty Buttery from the Angels, Brett Anderson and David Phelps from the Brewers, Alex Cobb and Michael Gibbons from the Orioles.
Bring David Phelps back to the Yankees.
Yeah, that'd be nice. So a lot of work, a lot of players, and there's a lot of moving pieces. So, briefly, Nick and I are,
scroll down. Is that the guy who does like a little dance whenever he pitches?
Don't know who Johnny Cueto is?
Yeah, I know who he is. I'm just saying that when he pitches, that's the one who does like a little shuffle dance and throws the ball.
Honestly, I haven't watched Cueto pitch since he was with the Reds, so I don't remember. I
think
loved Cueto back then. But Nick and I are both in unison. We do not want Lance Lynn back. He came to the Yankees.
He was trash. He may be having a okay year on the Rangers, but that is no reason to give up prospects or great players on the team for Lance freaking Lynn.
Yeah. So
no shot that the Yankees actually pulled through.
And it's not like he's just a 1-year guy. He is a 2-year player, so we would have him next year also, and he's playing for $8 million. And I don't want to pay him. I didn't want to trade for him. I don't think he will add anything to the team. He will be another J.A. Happ and just give up runs.
He'll be a bum. We don't want him. Want him.
There's talk that the Rangers, would rather move Mike Minor because he's going to be a free agent. But there has been talks about him to the Yankees in the past. He does have a no-trade clause, and he doesn't really seem like he wants to come to New York. Then, the cream of the crop, this is the guy we both really, really want.
Yep.
It's just a matter of if it will or if it won't happen, and that's Mike Clevinger. So Clevinger, he kind of fell out of the good graces of Cleveland when he decided to, break COVID protocol and go out and party and do whatever it is he did, and then lie to the team about it.
Also, Zach Plesac was there, too.
Yeah, him, too.
So they're both kind of exiled from the team right now.
So Clevinger, he really put himself in, a bad spot, and that's the one thing that's, kind of, having me hold off on being all gung-ho about him.
I don't think the Yankees are holding that against him, though.
Why? Why not?
No, I'm saying if he comes to the Yankees, he's still going to be on a strict... Well, you can't leave the ballpark, but I don't think him doing that is in Brian Cashman's eyes. Like, well, he's a great pitcher, but he broke regulation. I don't want him on the team. No, I think they're still pushing for him.
That's not what I think is going to happen. I think
that's what I'm saying. It's not going to affect his trade value. It could. It's going to affect
his trade value.
Yes,
because
it will.
Now teams are going to say to the Indians GM, they're going to be like, we want Clevinger. But clearly you don't want him, and, he might be a bad presence in our locker room.
Yes.
So instead of giving you, let's say, Devi Garcia, our number 3 ranked prospect,
as well as Andujar or Frazier,
I'll give you this guy, Albert Abreu, our 12th ranked prospect.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen, and that I'm okay with that. If we can, take him breaking protocol and rules and use that to diminish his trade value, all for it. You mentioned Francisco Lindor. Now...
Well, we've mentioned Francisco Lindor in the show
about this last week, I think.
A lot of times, and I've always said there's no need for him to come to the Yankees. Would he be amazing on the Yankees? Yes. Would I root for him? Yes. But is he someone I want the Yankees to go out of their way to trade away pieces to get him? Not right now, no. Especially in a shortened season. Just go out and get a really good pitching. That's what we need. We don't need another fielder. We don't need another batter. As right now, we just need a solid starter.
But the problem the Yankees have had in the playoffs in years past is we don't have
a lefty batter.
No, not that. Yes, that. But we only have one of DJ LeMahieu, and everybody wants another one. Now, Lindor's not going to hit 400. He's not going to hit 350. He's going to hit 300. He's going to hit 25.
It would be
plus
nice
home
to
runs.
have like a 1-2 smooth shortstop second base combo like we used to have with Jeter and Cano.
Yeah.
But then, here's the thing: you get Lindor, right?
All right.
Torres comes back.
Yeah.
You're gonna obviously put Torres back at second base.
Yeah.
You're not gonna move Lindor. So now
Yeah.
here's the thing. Then DJ LeMahieu comes back.
Got to put him at first.
Do you put him at first or you throw him at third?
Got to put him at first. Everyone
So
loves
then-
Urshela. Your boy Urshela at third. You're going to move him?
No, he's
No.
doing great. But then you
Exactly.
have Luke Voigt, who's on fire right now.
Yeah,
and
but
you
he's
have
not a good fielder.
okay.
I'd
So
ra-
you can move him to DH.
I'd rather put LeMahieu at first to
Yes.
increase the infield,
So
defense.
you're okay with then DHing Voigt, and then Mike Ford gets even less playing time this season.
I'm assuming if you're going to go after like guys like Lindor and Cueto and Clevinger, the entire infield is on the block except
But then-
for Torres. Like I think that
How is Lindor a free agent after this season, or does
No.
he still have years on his contract?
so this is Clevinger. I think that Lindor has an extra year.
Okay, so then is he have a short run with the Yankees then? Because this offseason, the Yankees have a lot of people to re-sign.
And that's the other problem with it, that the Yankees have a lot of money that they have to start to spend, and whether we want them to or not, like that's just what's going to happen. So,
Look, I love Francisco Lindor. I think he's a great character in baseball. I think he's a great shortstop. I just think that if you want to, when his contract's up with the Indians, sure, go after him. But as of now, I think we would rather prefer a starting pitcher. In my opinion, I would rather have a starting pitcher because Happ doesn't have it. Tanaka had a very rough start, and I'm not going to hold that against him the whole season because he's a great pitcher and he'll probably bounce back. But the only person that you can really trust right now is Garrett Cole as a starter.
well, yes. Listen, as much as I do want to add pitching, I think you start to do that, it's going to get very complicated very quickly.
That's always been the Yankees' issue, though. The past
well, that's
10
what everyone
years,
keeps saying. But
the past 10 years, you're always hearing in the offseason, are the Yankees going to go after someone big? And then there's rumors, they're going after a big pitcher, and they never do. They just pick up either half-ass players who are cheap that really don't contribute to the team, or they just get a big bat.
listen, I very much disagree with you on all of this right
And
now.
you're allowed to disagree with
I
me.
know.
Yeah.
So first, let's just backtrack.
You
real
are
quick to
never
Lindor.
allowed to disagree with me.
So Lindor's still arbitration eligible for this year and next year, and then he's a free agent in 2022. So you're getting him for a year and a half, which
Yes.
I'm okay with that. Now, a trade to work to get him, you're not going to want to hear it, Nick. I'm just going to be straight. You don't want to hear the trade to
I already
get
know who's
Lindor.
going to be in the trade.
It's going to be Francisco Lindor. For Francisco Lindor,
We're trading him
we are
back.
getting. You're giving up Clint Frazier.
Okay.
You're giving up Miguel Andujar. You're giving up either Devi Garcia or Clark Schmidt. There's might be talk about you giving up Talkman, and you're probably gonna have to give up Estevan Florial. Any of those five. Now,
Is all that worth it for Francisco Lindor?
you tell me. I mean,
Look, he's...
the
How old is he now?
he's 2 years younger than me. He's 27.
Okay, so he's still very young. But
Super young. But
that's
when
a
he's
lot
up for a
of-
contract in 2022.
That is
He's
true.
going to be 29, and he's going to want a 10-year contract plus.
I don't think the Yankees are going to give him it. No, they're not
'cause
going to give that to
They're
him.
going to give that to Torres. They're going to give that to Judge.
Yes.
They're still paying
Players
Stanton,
that they
and they're
know-
still playing Cole. They're going to pay these four players a combined $1 billion. Then, if you think I'm crazy, Cole and Stanton already make up $500 million over
Yeah.
the next 7
That's
years.
absolutely true, yes.
Well, not over the next 9 years.
And here's my thing, though, with that trade. Yes, you're going to have to give up a pretty penny for Francisco
Yeah.
Lindor. But here's the issue that I was explaining to you yesterday. You're going to give him up. You're going to get one shortstop, and you're giving up, 3 outfielders. You're giving up one infield, actually 4 outfielders / infield. So you're giving up Andujar, who's now an outfielder. You're giving up Florial, outfielder. Frazier, outfielder.
Talkman.
Taughman, outfielder. Now, hear me out. What I brought up to you yesterday. At the end of the season, say Stanton wants to opt out of his contract with the Yankees and go somewhere else.
Which he won't,
Okay.
but yes.
But I'm just saying, say that happens. And you have Brett Gardner, who, at the end of the
Retires.
season, retires. what do the Yankees do now with the opening outfield? Because you're going to have Aaron Judge, you're going to have Aaron Hicks, who is going to be your two backup outfielders and your everyday starting left fielder.
You're going to sign a bunch of players. That's what the Yankees do.
I know, but
Listen, I'm not saying this is ideal. But
my ideal contract is, yes, so what you said, yes, but I'm taking out Clint Frazier.
But you're not going to get him then. And this is why I was getting so frustrated with you yesterday.
I know.
No matter what happens throughout the next week, every team in the MLB
is going to ask for Clint Frazier.
To trade with the Yankees is saying their number one thing that they want back is Clint Frazier.
It's the same situation with Gleyber Torres when everyone asked for him.
But that was very different. Torres was not expendable. Torres was a player Cashman has been in love with for the last 6 years.
And was lucky enough to get him from
Frazier. No,
the
he
Cubs.
wasn't lucky. That was the Cubs were desperate and they wanted to win a World Series. That's why we got Torres. And Cashman knew that. They were one piece away and he gave it to them.
Yeah, that's true.
Frazier's very different. Frazier has been in and out of the good graces of the Yankees for the last 3 years. Cashman was not in love with him, for the last 6 years. He said, okay, we're going to give you, who did we give the pitcher? I can't think of his name. The closer. What the hell's his name?
On the Yankees?
That we traded to get Frazier.
Oh, Chapman?
No, we didn't trade Chapman to get Frazier.
I'm sorry.
All right, whatever. You guys know who we're talking about. Yankees traded him, and then they got Frazier, and Cashman was happy about it. Frazier was the number one high school
Andrew
prospect.
Miller?
Yes, Andrew Miller.
Okay.
He was the number one high school prospect. He was the number one college prospect. He got taken, I think, 3rd or 6th overall. And then Cashman did his due diligence and his research and said this kid has legendary bat speed. And now
he does have really good bat speed, though.
Now he's finally putting it all together. And that's a lot of work for the Yankees minor league system and their current system to fix him and get him to do what he had to do properly.
And to grow up.
Exactly, and that's the other thing. He finally grew up. But he hadn't for the last 3 years. And the Yankees, like I said, he was in and out of the good graces. Frazier's a very movable piece for the Yankees, and the reason that he's been starting right now is, yes, because of injuries, and 2, because he's on the trading block. And right now, he is on fire. And every team knows the Yankees have 35 outfielders, and they can't play everybody. So they're going to go after the young one, the cheap one, and the good one. And that's all Frazier. Talkman's good, but he's what?
He's a cheap one.
Talkman or Frazier?
Talkman is a cheap one.
Yeah, well,
Frazier is your...
I'm saying Frazier's all three of them. He's young, he's cheap, he's good. Talkman, yeah, he's young, he's cheap, he's not as good. His ceiling is not even close to Frazier's.
Frazier but he's still a good outfielder. But he doesn't compare to Clint Frazier.
No, exactly. That's why they're going to demand Frazier. If you're going to make a trade for Lindor, you're asking for Frazier. If you're going to make a trade for Clevenger, who has a sub-3 ERA throughout his career, you're asking for Frazier. You're not getting anybody from Cleveland. And also, Cleveland gave us Frazier. They drafted Frazier.
Yes,
they love Frazier. They're going to want him. So that's just.
And here's the thing too. Look, he's also been on the trading block for the past couple of years too.
Yeah,
like every time a trade deadlines come up, every time off seasons come up, and the Yankees want to do a trade, there's always been talks of Frazier. And in my eyes, this is the do or die year. So it's either this is the final year where they actually say, "Fine, we will give up Clint Frazier," or this is the year. Next year is the year where he is the starting outfielder.
Listen, I think that
then he's off the table and that's it.
I think he's very much prepared to start next year, and it brings.
He's going to start next year no matter what, whether it's on the Yankees or it's somewhere else.
Well, yes,
he's getting the starting position next year.
Listen, I don't think the Yankees are getting Lindor. I also don't think that they're getting Mike Clevenger. I don't think that we're trading Frazier. I'm saying if you want those two,
you're going to have to give them up.
Frazier.
And look, I agree with you too on that. You're going to have to. I just don't want to see Clint Frazier leave because...
Another thing with Clevenger, it's not that he's another guy that's just like, oh, blah, 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 here we go. We're going to have him for a half a season. He's another guy like Lindor that Yankees have control on him. Mm-hmm. It's not so much contract. They're still young. So
no, but they still have him. Yes.
So the Yankees, they're getting 2 cheap players until 2022. And that's just what it is. It's very unlikely that they land one or even both of them. But I mentioned Johnny Cueto before, and it would be nice to have him. He's not what he was when he was with Cincinnati, and I don't know or even when he was with the Royals, and I don't know how well I think he will do against American League bats. I think he's getting older. I think he's way past his prime. I think at best you get 6 innings and he gives up 3 runs every start, and that's at best. The thing though is he's owed a lot of money throughout the next 2 years around. Which is between 2021 and 22. Buyout is worth $26 million. So they essentially trade for a 1-year deal for him and then buy him out. The proposed trade from the New York Post is Aaron Hicks.
Oh, to trade Aaron Hicks away?
Yeah, which is interesting since they just signed him 2 years ago to a $7-year deal for, it was like 77 mil. And he's got 5 years and 50 and a half left. I like Hicks a lot.
I love Aaron Hicks.
But he's always hurt. And that's, it's not ideal. And you still got a guy like Estevan Florial waiting in the wings to come up. Like, he's MLB ready. He's played some minor league ball with us. He's played spring training with us. He has
summer camp, he was there too.
Yeah. And, he has a lot to work on. He's still young. He's only 22. And all of his hype is he's a 5-tool outfielder. He's a 5-tool center fielder. He's got a bat. He's got speed. He's got defense. He can hit, and he can hit for power. And he's got good glove work. And they're saying he could be the future center fielder, which is great, which was what I was excited to hear. And then we gave Hicks a 7-year deal, literally like a month or two after I read up on this kid. So I was very, very confused why we gave him that long of a deal. And don't get me wrong, I love Hicks. He's also, like, when he's healthy, he's one of the top 5 best center fielders in the game. And I very much understand that. The Yankees have him very cheap. But since they signed him, he can't stay healthy. I wouldn't be opposed to swapping Cueto for Hicks. But I don't know what we do with center field, then. We're not putting Frazier in center.
You're putting Brett Gardner back in center field.
Yeah, but he's old now. He doesn't have the speed.
He is old.
He doesn't have the speed that he used to. He's a solid defender, but he's not going to be as good as he was in. I don't
think Hicks is going anywhere.
But I mean, I don't either. But
possibility, yes, it's a possibility. But I think that's very, very unlikely.
Would you put Talkman in center?
Yeah, he could play center field.
Yeah,
he's played a couple of times this year.
All right. Next on
but
the
is
list,
he better outfielder than Aaron Hicks?
No. I guess, but when has Hicks played? I mean, he's played a good part of the season. He was hurt earlier.
And Hicks is known for becoming a very hot player.
Yeah,
batting
that's
too.
Reason.
And he's a switch hitter too.
I made my personal Twitter account, a Gary Sanchez and Aaron Hicks stan account when they had that 13-inning extra inning game against Cleveland last year. That was just a really fun night. That was a great game.
I still to this day say that was the best game out of any team of the 2019 season.
Yeah, that was an amazing game.
Amazing game, Yankees and Twins. Absolutely amazing.
Oh, those Twins.
That's a classic.
Indians. My bad.
Yeah, those Twins.
So, and then, the article ends with, some pitchers that they think, need to change the scenery. John Gray from the Rockies, Robbie Ray from the Diamondbacks, Michael Fulmer from the Tigers, and even Steven Matz from the Mets. So, I think you can cross Matz off your list. One, I don't want him because I don't think, moving from Queens to the Bronx is going to do anything different for him. Michael Fulmer, I like him, but, there was a lot of talk that the Yankees were very high on him last year and the trading deadline the year before that. And now it sounds like since then he's just gotten worse and worse and worse. So it's like, okay, what are we going to do with that? So I don't, really necessarily want him. The Yankees have, really liked Michael Fulmer for Robbie Ray for a while. They've always been connected to him. I think he's okay. Listen, if we're trading for one of these guys, we're not getting a stud starter. We're getting a number 3, at best. Most likely a number 4, number 5.
He's not really having the best of seasons.
No, he's not. And he hasn't since 2 years ago.
Is it raining?
Yeah, it's supposed to rain today.
Sounds like hail.
Yeah, it's supposed to thunderstorm. Starting now.
Starting now. We also do weather too on Thursdays, so.
Yeah, what time is it?
Catch us at Lazab Weather.
5, 6,
just kidding.
And 8. It's supposed to rain.
Okay. But yeah, he's got almost a 10 ERA. He only played 4 games. His whip is garbage.
Yeah, he hasn't been having a good year.
No.
And, I'm very happy we didn't trade for him a couple years ago. I don't want to trade for him now.
How's Robbie Ray doing this year? I want to see what his numbers are.
I mean, he's another one that's not doing spectacular.
He's still in Arizona, right?
Yep.
Okay. Because you remember last year, or it was the year before that, Arizona was like, "Oh, we're gonna give Robbie Ray up. It doesn't matter. We want to trade him." And then last second, they said, "Never mind."
He's another guy with an 8 ERA. Like, these are guys that aren't having good years, and you can blame that on if you want to blame on coronavirus.
His best
not
year
proper
was
training.
2017.
Yeah. I mean, you can blame it on, not having enough training and coronavirus and all this bullshit, but what it comes down to is these are three players that aren't really going to help anything. So, it is what it is with that. The last one that has been getting a lot of talk lately.
And then I want to do a realistic trade of what we actually
Yeah.
think might happen.
So,
After we talk about Walker.
Yeah, so the last one is Taijuan Walker from Seattle. He's a guy who's a career 4 ERA kind of guy. He was a former high prospect who is, he's finally maturing. He's in his last year of his deal with Seattle, and they gave him $2 million, I believe, for it.
You pull him up on the Baseball Reference. I wanna see this man's stats. Ooh, he wears 99.
All right, well, obviously he won it on the Yankees.
I know he wouldn't on the Yankees.
Yeah, he's got a 5 ERA right now.
Okay.
Career 4.2. He's got 25 strikeouts in 27 innings. He's pitching okay, and the GM spoke highly of him the other day, saying if this was isn't the same guy as last year, that players were sitting on his fastball this game, and he was smart enough to make the mid-game adjustments, add in a curveball, add in a changeup, add in a slider, keep the batters off balance, and he was pitching the right way. So it's encouraging to hear that, but I don't know who we're going to give up for him. I know, who was it, Dipoto? Yeah, Jerry Dipoto. He has a really good relationship with Cashman. They always work trades out. I wouldn't be surprised.
So does Cleveland and the Yankees actually do have a very good relationship, by the way.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised, if you see them, offer somebody like Albert Abreu, another young guy who... Listen, I like Abreu. We got him years ago. He's got, a lot of potential, but he went from, one of our top 5 prospects. He's dropped down to 12. This is MLB's prospect ranking, if anyone's wondering.
Austin Wells is very high on this list.
Yeah. So, it's just, interesting. Abreu is a guy who, he can either be a starter or a reliever. He's a guy who throws 100 miles per hour. So, he's okay.
And he's ready to come up, too.
Yeah, he's 24.
He's 24.
But, at the end of the day, all these trades suck. And if there's anything I want to happen, it's I want Clark Schmidt to get called up, and I want Debbie Garcia to get called up. And
so you're going with the scrap the entire trade proposal and just bring up 2 of our...
Yeah, because honestly,
prospects.
Nope.
I like that.
Now with 16 teams per league, 16 teams total in the playoffs, no one's trading.
Look, I'm all for Clark Schmidt.
The teams that are going to trade are Boston, Pittsburgh, crappy teams with nobody to really offer.
Boston said there's no limitations.
Yeah.
They'll trade whoever they want. They don't care.
Yeah, they're not going to give us anybody.
Well, I mean, we saw that when Mookie Betts going to the Dodgers, that they don't give a shit.
Well, yeah, but again, they did that because they put him in the National League. They don't have to ever see him, and it's all fine.
So Indians are not promoting Plesac.
Oh,
spicy.
Thunder.
Well, I'm okay with that actually, because I've been saying, and everyone is actually saying that they want Clark Schmidt to come up and they want J Happ to go down. And I know the Yankees aren't going to bring J Happ down. I think he's just throwing the bullpen at this point. But Clark Schmidt deserves to come up, and he did great during summer camp. He had some, rough innings, but he still held it down.
Look, I think Schmidt's going to be the future for the Yankees. I think he's got a very high ceiling. I think he's going to be a really good kid. And if we can get him in as our 4th or 5th guy and let him grow into number 2 or 3 role, I'm very okay with that. I think that, Happ came out today, and I guess he was getting interviewed right before we started, asking, what his thoughts are on the season. He goes, listen, I'm not stupid. I know why my starts are getting skipped. I know why I'm not pitching as long into games. I know why I'm not pitching as often. He knows this is his last year with the Yankees, and the Yankees, know exactly what they're doing. We know what we spoke about earlier in another episode, what his escalators were, and I think he needed to start 11 games, and or pitch 60 or 70 innings or something like that. So the Yankees, like, they're keeping him, like, as, you know...
He's just running out of gas. He's been around for 14 years.
He's never been good.
He's been on so many different teams.
He had one good year, and that was the year we traded for him, and then he went 7-0 with us, which was fantastic. And then how did he reward us? He came back with a 5 ERA, and now he's a 6.4.
2019, he did better in the second half of the season. I'll give him that, though, because his ERA was 2.69, and he went like 10 games undefeated. But this year, like you said, it's his last year with New York, and that's it. And before
it was a dumb deal. They should never have re-signed him after that 1 year.
Yeah.
I said it was stupid back then. I'll say it's stupid till I die. Let him go. Cut him. Trade him. Do whatever you can do. No one's going to take him for a trade, so nobody get excited about that.
No, just let him go. And before we finish today's episode, I know that you were saying you'd rather those people come up. And I agree with that actually fully. I'd rather just bring up prospects than trade them away.
Mm-hmm.
Who I am going with... Where is it? Where was that other article you had with
right next to it.
This one? Or this one?
What are you looking for?
I want to see like the pictures that we were just talking about.
This.
There it is. That's what I wanted. Thank you. Okay, so I think who they're seriously going to go after, I think they're really in serious talks with Clevenger. I think that's a serious thing. I don't think that that's a rumor. I think like they're actually negotiating trades with him, and unfortunately, like you said, you're gonna give up a pretty penny for him. So, as much as I hate it, I think you're right. I think Frazier and Duhar and a pitching prospect are gonna have to go to Cleveland in order to get Mike Clevenger, or maybe two pitching prospects. I don't think we're gonna totally deplete our entire outfield for one pitcher. I think we're going to have a couple different pitching prospects. So probably Garcia, maybe Clark Schmidt in the mix if they feel it's necessary and they trust Clevenger.
I don't think they need Clark Schmidt. I think that they saw what they have in him. I think it's
probably Garcia.
Garcia used to be untouchable, and now I think they saw what they had in him, and you know that they are impressed, but he's still young, and they're looking to compete now. He has electric stuff, Garcia, but he's not a prototypical pitcher. He doesn't have the prototypical size. He's 5'9", so instead of, pitching at that downward angle, it's going to be straight at them. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be, very difficult for him to excel with the Yankees. I think he's probably best at this point going to wind up being a reliever.
Starter. Oh, you think he's going to be a reliever?
Listen, I want
he could start off as a reliever. And then they can, once in a while, like they do with
Jabba.
Not Jabba. They do with who's on. Oh, I can't think. Not Sessa. Who's on? Loizaga. Loizaga can be a starter or a reliever if they need him to. But I think also if they don't want to go after Clevenger and they want to settle for more of like not a mediocre pitcher, but someone who's still good but not a big name like Clevenger, then I think Dylan Bundy or Ty Buttery could be a potential. Or they might just bring up some prospects and take it from there. If the whole thing with Clevenger doesn't work out.
With all of this, I really don't think they're going after starting pitching. I think they're going after relievers. I think they're really going to start looking at Michael Givens and David Phelps, and really try to pry the two of them.
Yeah, Givens is really good.
Givens is sick, but the only thing is I really don't think Baltimore's going to trade him in division.
No, they'll trade him outside division.
Yeah, and I think they've been in talks with some teams already with Givens. So we'll be interested to see where he goes and what happens.
Now let me hear your trade.
To get Givens?
No, just who do you think the Yankees are most going after right now? And if they are going after them, who do you think that they're putting on the table?
I think, like I said, they're looking at Givens and Phelps, and honestly Cueto. I think those are the three that they're really looking at.
Cueto would be nice.
I do think that it does make sense if they go after Cueto. They swap him for Hicks. They need outfield help with San Francisco, and if the only thing is they're kind of in the race right now. It's a matter of would you rather give up your pitcher, or would you rather take on an established vet who can be one of the better outfielders in the game. I don't think it's too far out of out of the realm of possibilities that it could happen. But I think if you're going to start looking at Michael Givens, David Phelps, Ty Buttery, you're going to start looking at relievers and stuff, I think that's when you start digging into prospects. I think those three are good, but not good enough to warrant Clint Frazier. I think that's when you start really throwing around Andujar and Talkman, maybe even Mike Ford. I think those three are very likely to get moved. I also think that we're going to start talking about trading away Estevan Florial and Albert Abreu. And those are two of my favorite prospects, so I'm not really too thrilled about that. They're obviously not going to trade Dominguez away. Clark Schmidt should be coming up.
Dominguez is going to be the Yankees' next big great.
Yes, he's going to be insane. If you don't know his name, you don't know enough about baseball.
They're going to treasure him like they treasure Torres and Aaron Judge.
Oh my God, he's going to be so good. If you can get his rookie baseball card, do it. I already have one. I'm trying to get more, so if you have them and you don't want them, send them to me.
At Lizap Studios.
Devi Garcia, they like him, but like I said before, I think he could be moved, but I think if you're moving him, that's for a piece like Mike Clevinger, like an established solid starter. And like we can see them like move like random guys like Anthony Siegler. How many catchers do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4 catchers. That's insane.
They wouldn't give up Austin Wells because...
No, he's a rookie. They just got him.
Yeah, you don't know the future of the Yankees organization with Gary Sanchez, what's going to go on.
Luis Medina could go. I know he's played a little bit majors, but he can get shipped off. But there's a lot of possibilities.
There's so many different possibilities.
The trade, like I would like to see it, but at the same time, I don't want to see it as a trade for Lindor. I don't want to see it because we can't afford to pay everybody, and we're going to have to say goodbye to somebody like Judge or
Maybe
Torres.
If this was a couple of years ago before the Yankees really got involved with the team we have now, then yeah, bring Lindor to the team. But and then you would build everything around the rest of the infield around him. Him, Torres, and LeMahieu.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's right now is not the proper time to go after Lindor. Just go after pitching, or just pull out of the whole trade deadline and just bring up Clark and Garcia.
I'd like to see that happen, but we'll see what it is. And this time next week,
we will know.
We'll be doing this right at the very end of the trade deadline. I will probably be online live broadcasting as much as I can.
Yep.
So tune in, check it out, and I will give you all the latest and trades all around the league, not just the Yankees. I will be, a better version of ESPN.
Probably eating some food.
I will be RSPN, Richie Sports Production Network. Is that what it stands for? I don't know. We'll figure it out.
So anyway, catch us next week catch us every week at 10:30 a.m. on YouTube and Spotify at Lizap Yankee Podcast. You can check us out on all social media platforms: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok. YouTube. Not Snapchat, but we don't do Snapchat.
YouTube, Facebook, whatever you know.
Also, too, leave us a comment, subscribe, like our videos, message us, let us know you're listening.
Tell us you hate us. Tell us you hate us.
Tell us you love us.
Tell that crazy ex-boyfriend who keeps showing up at your house. Check us out.
And
we're
maybe one day we will try and do a live show.
Yeah, we'll do a live show, and check us out. Tell everybody about us. If you want our business cards, here. Take this. It's an Olympus thing, but it's our business card.
That is my lens cap. We can't get that out.
So, take it to the bank, and that's us. Tell everybody you know about us. We will see you guys next week.
I'm Nick.
I'm Richie.
We'll see you next week, everybody. Peace.